Alright Reaper 1 tricks, Reaper mains, and anyone who dabbles with death himself. In this video, I'm going to go over Reaper's perks and which minor and major perks you need to choose when reaping. Now there's probably a whole bunch of videos already covering perks and even Reaper specific videos, but what I've done is actually put in time to use each perk and experience how it feels in game, whereas the majority of the videos you'll see are just based on the perks descriptions with zero testing actually done. And trust me, a lot of the perks feel very different in game compared to what they seem like on paper. But no more wasting time, let's get into it. So first off, what are perks? Perks are a great addition to Overwatch, brand new in Season 15. Every hero has the chance of unlocking 2 perks in a match. First, a minor perk and then a major perk. These perks offer a variety of bonuses depending on the hero. Some provide extra damage, others cooldown reduction, and so on. Basically, they give power spikes to your hero throughout the match. So now we know exactly what perks are, let's take a look at Reaper's very own unique set of minor perks. First off, we have Death's Shadow. Increases Shadow Step's maximum distance by 25% and reloads his shotgun. This perk can definitely come in handy. When you teleport mid-fight, the last thing you want to do is land on top of Ana with 1 round left in your shotguns, or to waste a precious second reloading before actually teleporting. The increased range is also very nice as it allows you to make certain teleports you wouldn't otherwise be able to do. But sometimes what can happen is you teleport too far and overshoot your target, which is a really bad thing for Reaper for obvious reasons. Let's get on to our second minor perk, Soul Reaving. Dead enemies drop globes or orbs that can be collected and heal Reaper up to 50 HP. These orbs stay on the ground for about 8 seconds and then expire. At first, I thought this was going to be one of the many useless perks in this patch, as there's already so much healing in Overwatch. What's another 50 HP? And let's say you're standing on an orb and Tracer shoots you for 4 damage. Well, now that orb heals you for a grand total of 4 HP. But yeah, just like most perks, this one is situational. You're not going to pick up every orb, and they're not all going to heal you for 50 HP. But what this perk will enable you to do is keep fighting after an elimination when you're out of line of sight of your supports, give your Death Blossom more sustain when ulting groups of enemies, and make you an unkillable machine in teamfights when everyone is grouped up. So the question is, which do we choose? Death's Shadow or Soul Reaving? Well, personally, I started the season using a lot of Death's Shadow, but I find that the shortcomings sometimes outweigh the benefits when compared to Soul Reaving, which, while you're not always going to get the full potential, it doesn't have any risks. So I'm all in with Soul Reaving now and enjoying the extra bit of sustain. And I'm sure my supports are liking it as well, as they don't need to worry about me quite as much and can focus on healing my teammates. Alright, time for the big boys, the major perks. Our first one, Dire Triggers, is what Reaper players have been begging for years. A ranged attack. Reaper shoots both shotguns at once, dealing big damage with significantly more range and a much tighter spread. Amazing, right? Right? Well, when I first tried this perk, I absolutely hated it. It's clunky and the damage is inconsistent. Now by clunky, I mean there's a significant delay from the time you activate it to when you can literally do anything else in game. You can't melee, you can't reload, and you can't shoot a regular round for a good second after Dire Triggers. But you know what? I didn't give up. I gave it another shot and came to this conclusion. Dire Triggers is actually a great perk if you use it at optimal times. So the question remains, when to use it and when not to use it. First off, you shouldn't use the double shot to initiate a fight. The delay means you won't be able to fire a second shot for too long, giving the enemy time to react and free fire on you. Don't try to weave it in with your regular shots. It will reduce your DPS and overall damage. Okay, so when can we get value from it? Before the rumble begins, if teams are poking, Reaper can finally join in on the action. Peeking corners. You're not going to one-tap anyone, but if your team's Ashe or Cass lands a big headshot, you can quickly end an enemy before they have time to react. Plus, you can get some nice ult charge as well. Flying enemies. Pesky Farah flying freely overhead, sock her with a nice 75 damage right in her chest, and force her into cover. And of course those filthy rats who think they can run away from Reaper. Enemies no longer have to be within 3 meters for Reaper to deal reasonable damage. So there are a number of times that you can get value out of dire triggers, so I think it is a very good perk. And finally, our other major perk, Ravenous Wraith. This gives an additional 40% lifesteal on top of the 30% he gets from his passive. Calculators out, that's 70% total lifesteal for 3 seconds after you exit Wraith. This is a perk that you'll be constantly taking advantage of, as Reaper will be using Wraith basically on cooldown. One thing to remember is that it isn't necessarily a perk that will turn a fight, because when you come out of Wraith, the enemy gets that quarter of a second when they can shoot you, but you can't shoot them. So make sure that if you're using this mid-fight, you'll be able to survive that initial burst, otherwise just retreat as you normally would. I've heard a lot of people say how strong this is with Death Blossom, but to be honest, when my ults fail, it's rarely because I die to sustained damage. It's usually because of burst damage, which lifesteal won't help against. Also, abilities like Anna's Sleep or Nade, Defense Matrix, etc. Again, lifesteal can do nothing for you against them. So with all that being said, even though it's really clunky, I think Dire Triggers is the pick for your major perk. Once you get used to not overusing it and only using it in certain situations, you can get some really decent value out of it. It's obviously not the best perk in the game, but it is very useful and pretty fun too. Hopefully they smooth out some of the clunkiness of it in future patches though. So those are Reaper's perks along with my personal recommendations. But just keep in mind that they all have their uses and can be viable in the right situations. So in the end, go with what you're comfortable with and what you have fun with. Anyways, thanks for watching, and may your Death Blossoms be bloody.